High glycemic foods are foods that cause a rapid spike in your blood sugar. Fast food is essentially a perfect storm for acne. How do you figure out what's triggering your breakouts? Here's what a skin-supportive diet actually looks like in practice. You're washing your face twice a day, you're using the right products, you're being consistent, and you're still breaking out. Sound familiar? Here's something most people never consider. The answer might not be in your bathroom. It might be in your kitchen. The connection between diet and acne is one of the most debated topics in dermatology, and also one of the most misunderstood. Today, I'm going to walk you through the everyday foods that are most likely contributing to your breakouts, what the science actually says, and what you can do about it. Let's get into it. Before we get into specific foods, I want to address the elephant in the room because for a long time, dermatologists actually told patients that diet had nothing to do with acne. You may have even heard that from a doctor, and I want to be honest with you. That thinking has changed significantly. The research over the last 2 decades has made it very clear that for many people, diet plays a real and meaningful role in acne development. Now, it's not the only factor. Genetics, hormones, skincare habits, stress, these all matter too. But diet is one of the few factors you actually have direct control over every single day. Here's how it works at a basic level. Certain foods trigger hormonal responses in the body, specifically spikes in insulin and androgens that directly stimulate your oil glands to produce more sebum. More sebum means more clogged pores. More clogged pores means more breakouts. Other foods drive systemic inflammation, which makes existing acne worse and slower to heal. So no, eating a cheeseburger one time is not going to give you a cyst, but consistent dietary patterns absolutely can influence your skin, and for some people, dramatically so. Let's talk about which foods are the biggest culprits. Let's go through the foods I see come up most consistently in both my research and my own patients. Number 1, high glycemic foods. This is a big one. High glycemic foods are foods that cause a rapid spike in your blood sugar, like white bread, white rice, pasta, sugary cereals, chips, crackers, anything made with refined flour or added sugar. When your blood sugar spikes, your body releases insulin to bring it back down. That insulin spike then triggers a cascade of hormonal activity, including an increase in androgens that tells your oil glands to go into overdrive. Multiple studies have shown that people who switch from a high glycemic diet to a low glycemic diet see significant improvement in their acne. This is one of the most well-supported dietary connections in dermatology. So if you're eating a lot of processed carbs and refined sugars and you're breaking out, this is the first place I would look. Number 2, dairy, especially skim milk. I know this one surprises people. The dairy acne connection has been studied extensively, and what the research shows is so interesting. It's not just about the fat content. In fact, skim milk appears to be more problematic for acne than whole milk. Why? Because skim milk contains higher concentrations of whey protein and growth hormones that stimulate insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1. IGF-1 is a hormone that directly promotes sebum production and skin cell proliferation, both of which contribute to acne. Now, not everyone who drinks milk will break out, but if you're acne prone and you're consuming a lot of dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt, protein shakes made with whey especially, then it's absolutely worth paying attention to. Number 3, whey protein. Surprise, surprise. Speaking of whey, this deserves its own call out because I see it constantly in my teenage and young adult patients, especially those who are active or working out. Whey protein is derived from milk and it is extremely high in IGF-1 stimulating compounds. I've had multiple patients whose acne cleared up dramatically after switching from whey protein to plant-based protein powder. If you're using whey protein regularly and struggling with acne, this is a very easy swap to try. Number 4, sugar and chocolate. I know you've heard this one before, but let me give you the actual mechanism so it makes sense. Sugar drives insulin spikes, which we already talked about. But sugar also feeds the inflammatory process in the body. Chronic low-grade inflammation makes acne worse. It makes it heal more slowly, and it increases the risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation after a breakout. Chocolate specifically, particularly milk chocolate, combines sugar with dairy, which is essentially a double hit for acne-prone skin. Dark chocolate with a high cocoa percentage and low sugar is a much better option if you're a chocolate lover like I am. Number 5, fast food and ultra-processed foods. Fast food is essentially a perfect storm for acne. High glycemic load, high in saturated fats, often containing dairy, and loaded with refined ingredients that drive inflammation. Studies have shown a consistent association between frequent fast food consumption and higher rates of acne, particularly in adolescents. This doesn't mean you can never eat fast food, but if it's a daily habit and you're struggling with your skin, it's worth connecting those dots. Now, I don't want this to be a list of things that you can't eat because that's not helpful and it's not realistic. So let's talk about what the research suggests that can actually support clearer skin. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel, as well as walnuts and flaxseed. Omega-3s are potent anti-inflammatory compounds. Since inflammation is a core driver of acne, increasing your omega-3 intake is one of the most evidence-backed dietary changes you can make for your skin. Some studies have even shown that omega-3 supplementation reduces acne severity. Low glycemic foods, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, most fruits. These foods release glucose slowly, keep insulin levels stable, and don't trigger that hormonal cascade we talked about. Building your diet around low glycemic foods is genuinely one of the best things you can do for acne-prone skin. Zinc. Zinc is a mineral with well-documented anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. It's found in foods like pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, lentils, and beef. Some studies have shown that people with acne tend to have lower zinc levels, and zinc supplementation has shown modest but real benefits for acne reduction. Antioxidant-rich foods. Antioxidant-rich foods like berries, leafy greens, green tea. These foods are high in antioxidants that combat oxidative stress and inflammation in the skin. They're not going to clear acne on their own, but they'll support an overall anti-inflammatory environment in the body that benefits your skin. I want to be clear though, diet alone is rarely enough to fully resolve acne, especially in moderate to severe cases. But it is a meaningful piece of the puzzle, and it's one that's completely within your control. Here's one thing about diet and acne. It's not the same for everyone. Some people are highly sensitive to dairy. Others can eat dairy all day and their skin is fine, but they break out every time they go through a high sugar phase. The research gives us patterns, but your skin is individual. So how do you figure out what's triggering your breakouts? The elimination approach. Pick one suspected trigger, let's say dairy, and eliminate it completely for 4 to 6 weeks. Not reduced, eliminate it. Then pay attention to what happens to your skin. 4 to 6 weeks is the minimum because your skin takes time to respond to dietary changes. If you see improvement, you have your answer. You can then reintroduce it slowly and see if the breakouts return. Keep a food and skin journal. I know this sounds tedious, but even 2 weeks of tracking what you eat and noting your skin's condition can reveal patterns you would never notice otherwise. You might realize your skin flares every time you have a high sugar weekend, or that your breakouts correlate with your post-workout protein shake. Don't change everything at once. If you eliminate dairy, cut out sugar, stop eating gluten, and start taking 5 supplements all in the same week, you will have no idea what actually made a difference. Make one change at a time, give it enough time to work, and then evaluate. Come see a dermatologist. If you've made meaningful dietary changes and you're still struggling with acne, please don't just keep experimenting on your own. There are highly effective treatments, topical and oral, that can make a huge difference. Diet is just one piece of the puzzle. It's not the whole picture. So let me bring this all together and give you something actionable you can take away from this video today. If you're acne prone, the first thing I want you to do is take an honest look at your diet. Not to be perfect, but to be aware. Are you eating a lot of refined carbs and sugar? Are you drinking a lot of milk or using whey protein daily? Are you eating fast food multiple times a week? These are patterns that the research consistently links to acne, and they're the first things worth addressing. Here's what a skin-supportive diet actually looks like in practice. In the morning, instead of a bowl of sugary cereal or white toast, try eggs with vegetables or oatmeal with berries. low glycemic, anti-inflammatory, and genuinely filling. If you make a protein shake, swap your whey protein for a plant-based alternative. Pea protein is a great option and your skin will thank you. During the day, build your meals around vegetables, lean proteins, legumes, and whole grains. If you're craving something sweet, reach for fruit, not over-processed snacks. Berries in particular are low glycemic and packed with antioxidants that support your skin. If you love dairy and don't want to give it up entirely, start by cutting out skim milk specifically. Remember, that's the most problematic form of dairy for acne-prone skin. Hard cheeses tend to be less of a trigger than most liquid dairy for most people. Add omega-3s wherever you can. Salmon twice a week, a handful of walnuts as a snack, or high-quality fish oil supplement. This is one of the most impactful changes you can make for inflammation-driven acne. And if you're going to have chocolate, go dark. High cocoa, low sugar. Your skin and your taste buds will both adjust, I promise. Now here's the most important thing I want you to hear. You do not have to be perfect. Stress about food is also inflammatory, and that is not a joke. The goal is not to eliminate every possible trigger forever. The goal is to understand your skin, make informed choices, and most of the time, give your body the best possible environment to heal. Small, consistent changes over time will always outperform dramatic short-term restrictions that you can't sustain. The connection between food and acne is real. It's backed by science, and it's something I wish more people were talking about because it puts real power back in your hands. To recap, high glycemic foods, dairy, especially skim milk, whey protein, sugar, and fast food are the most consistent dietary triggers for acne. Omega-3s, low glycemic foods, zinc, and antioxidant-rich foods can support clearer skin. And the best way to find your personal triggers is to eliminate them one at a time, giving it 6 weeks and pay attention. If you've been struggling with acne and you feel like you've tried everything, consider the answer might be on your plate. And if dietary changes aren't enough, please come see a dermatologist. You don't just have to live with it. If this video was helpful, give it a like and subscribe. I put out new content every week breaking down topics just like this one. Leave your questions in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.